Hello, everyone. Welcome to the session. Today, we have a very special guest with us who's joining us all the way from Belgium. Vasilis, he is an IBEN workshop leader, uh, head of school, IBPYP coordinator, and the most inspiring thing about which I noticed in his LinkedIn profile, which reads IB Traveler, join me in my PYP journey and let's learn together. Isn't that inspiring? It talks volume about his commitment and dedication to education. Please welcome Vasilis.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here, Anila, in your wonderful YouTube channel. My name is Vasilis, as you mentioned. One small correction, I'm the head of PYP, not the head of school yet. It's something that will come in time, maybe some years later on. But I'm really happy with what I'm doing and my learning pattern alongside the IB and all the fellow PYP educators around the world. And we are here to learn more about our today's topic whenever you want to start with.
All the educators here, I would request you to please introduce yourself in the chat. It will help us to know you better. And you can also put your questions here. Should we get started? The
All
topic
right.
for reporting in PYP.
Mm-hmm. So today we're going to be talking about the importance of reporting, as assessing is one area that all the schools are doing in one way or another. But if it's not reported, if it's not reflected in a way, then it's not meaningful. And an assessment without feedback, it doesn't put any importance, doesn't place any importance into the students' learning and growth. Um, so to continue with, we first of all, to start with, we need to realize that in order for learning to happen, it needs to be in a triangle. The triangle consists of the teachers, the students, of course, and the parents. One helps the other, and one cannot exist without the other. So we all need to collaborate, we all need to communicate in order for this triangle to be successful, because we should never forget that the students are in the center and everything is happening for the growth and the holistic development of the children, of the students. Reporting in the PYP, the primary years program, is valuable for all the three stakeholders that I just mentioned. It encourages reflection and self-assessment, as reporting in the PYP encourages students to reflect on their learning, identify their strengths and areas of growth, and take ownership of their learning. This helps students develop self-awareness, which is a valuable skill for learning. It also promotes communication and collaboration. Reporting in the PYP involves ongoing communication between students, parents, and teachers, which helps build a strong partnership between home and school. This collaboration can lead to a better understanding of the students' needs, interests, and learning style, which in turn can help teachers personalize the learning experience. It also provides feedback and recognition, as reporting in the PYP provides feedback on student progress and recognizes their achievements. This can help students feel motivated and confident in their learning, which can lead to increased engagement and improved academic performance. Also, it helps monitor and adjust teaching and learning, as reporting in the PYP helps teachers monitor students' progress and adjust their teaching and learning strategies as needed to meet the readiness of the students. This helps ensure the students are receiving high quality of education that is tailored to their individual needs. We should never forget that the students have different styles, they have different preferences, and they have different gifts and talents that they demonstrate during their school day. Yeah? Builds a culture of inquiry. PYP is an inquiry driven program. So, since the inquiry is the approach that we follow in a classroom setting, this promotes curiosity, and critical thinking and creativity. By reporting on the students' development of these skills, the PYP helps build a culture of inquiry within the school community. There are various methods of reporting. In the primary years program, reporting is a process of communicating student learning, progress, and achievement to students, parents, and teachers. The PYP recognizes that reporting should be ongoing, timely, and focused on supporting student learning. Here are some common methods of reporting in the PYP. We have student-led conferences, we have written reports, we have portfolios, progress checklists, and anecdotal notes. We all know that the once or twice a year, in some schools it's 3 times a year because the semester is trimester, it's not a semester. So that's why they have 3 conferences a year. Two of the most major methods of reporting in regards to conferences are the parent-teacher conferences and the three-way conferences. For the parent-teacher conferences, this is a valuable opportunity as parents and teachers come together and discuss the progress and development of a student. The, the parent-teacher conferences help students build a strong relationship between parents and teachers. Through these conferences, parents can get to know their child's teacher, and teachers can get to know their students' families. This collaboration can help build trust and sense of partnership, which is essential for supporting student success. It also provides insight into student progress. Parent-teacher conferences provide an opportunity for teachers to share information about the students' progress, including academic performance, social and emotional development, and overall behavior. This information can help parents understand their child's strengths and areas for growth and work collaboratively with teachers to support their learning. There is also a personalized learning experience, as parent-teacher conferences can help teachers gain insight into the student's home life, interests, and needs, which can help them personalize the learning experience for the student. By understanding the student's unique strengths and challenges, teachers can tailor their approach to teaching and support the student's individual learning needs. The support also comes to the student's success, as by working together, parents and teachers can support the student's academic, social, and emotional development. Parent-teacher conferences provide an opportunity to identify areas where the students may need additional support and develop strategies to address these needs. This collaboration can lead to improved academic performance, increased engagement, and greater overall success for the student. Lastly, it encourages student ownership of learning, as by involving the student in the parent-teacher conference, it encourages the student to take ownership of their learning. When the student is included in the conversation, they become more aware of their strengths and areas for growth and can set goals for the future learning. This is the reason why three-way conferences are for the three-way conferences is a way of conference that is mostly suggested in a PYP school as the three sides of the triangle come together. The three-way conferences are also known as student-led conferences, involve the student, the parent, and the teacher. It encourages student agency. As we all know, in PYP, in the primary years program, and in the IB program in general, agency is core, is fundamental. So the three-way conferences give this opportunity to students to have the ownership of their learning by allowing them to take an active role in the conference. Students lead the conversation and share their learning progress, which helps them develop confidence, self-awareness, and a sense of responsibility for their learning, becoming risk takers and open-minded at the same time if we want to talk about the learning profile attributes. This experience also leads the students to build strong relationship with their family and the teacher, as the three-way conferences help build strong relationship between the three. They are involved in the conference, and this helps them foster a sense of collaboration and partnership. This can also lead to an improved communication, trust, and support for the students' learning. Three-way conferences also provide a comprehensive picture of students' progress. Excuse me. Three-way conferences provide a comprehensive picture of the students' learning, progress, and achievement. The student shares their work samples, reflections, and goals with their parent and teacher, which helps all parties gain a better understanding of the student's strengths, areas for growth, and learning needs. It also encourages reflection and goal setting. As a student reflects on their learning progress, they identify their strengths and areas for growth, and they set goals for future learning. This also helps the students become more self-aware and motivated to improve their own learning and well-being. Finally, three-way conferences support personalized learning by allowing the student to share their interests, passions, and learning needs with their parents and teachers. This helps the teachers tailor the learning experience to meet the students' individual needs and interests. How can we get ready for a three-way conference? Well, all stakeholders need to prepare in a way. And now we will start with the teacher, as the teacher is the organizer of these three-way conferences. The teacher should review the students' work first of all. Before the conference, review the students' work samples, assessments, and other relevant materials. This will help the teacher understand the student's strengths, areas for growth, and progress towards learning goals. Then, the teacher should set up an agenda. He or she should create an agenda for the conference that outlines the key topics to be discussed, including the student's strengths, areas for growth, progress towards learning goals, and any concerns or questions. For this step, I'm going to share with you some resources by the end of this presentation where you can find some templates that can help you in setting up your agenda for your three-way conferences. Later on, we should prepare the students. We need to help the students prepare for the conference by encouraging them to reflect on their learning progress, to identify their strengths and areas for growth, and to set goals for future learning. Teachers should also practice with students to lead the conference so as the student will feel confident and prepared. Then, something that is really fundamental is the creation of a supportive environment. As teachers, creating a supportive environment for the conference is to select a comfortable and private space where all parties can sit together. The teacher needs to ensure that there are no distractions and that everyone is focused on the conversation. The teacher should also listen actively. During the conference, actively listening to what the student and parent have to say is really fundamental and crucial, as the teacher needs to ask clarifying questions and to show interest and empathy towards the entire process. The teacher needs to acknowledge the student's strengths and achievements and provide constructive feedback on all areas for growth. The teacher needs to work together to identify strategies to support the student's learning. Last but not least, and it's very important, is that the teacher needs to follow up. After the conference, the teacher needs to follow up with the student and the parent to ensure that they understood the key takeaways from the conference and have a plan to support the student's learning. The teacher needs to make sure to document the outcomes of the conference and share them with the students, the parents, and any other relevant parties. Of course, the student is one stakeholder that needs to prepare as well for this process, as the student is the core and the main person, the protagonist of the three-way conferences. The student, first of all, should reflect on their learning progress. They have to see and think about what they have achieved, what they are proud of, what they want to improve. They should also think about their strengths and areas for growth. This reflection should also be accompanied by a reviewing of the actual work, of the samples, of the assessments, and other relevant materials that help them reflect on their learning progress and identify their strengths and areas for growth. Students should also prepare talking points for the conference, including their reflections on their learning progress, their strengths and areas for growth, and their goals for future learning. They should also be prepared to share work samples and demonstrate their learning progress. How did they learn? We should also not forget that in the PYP, what we care mostly is the process of learning rather than the result, the product. If their process is correct and has all the stages that should, then their product would also be credible and admirable. To continue with, students should also practice leading the conference with a teacher, family member, or a friend. This will help them feel more confident and prepared to lead the conference. The students should also be prepared to ask questions during the conference to gain better understanding of their learning progress and how they can improve. They should also be prepared to listen actively to feedback from the teachers and parents, because all the feedback that will be given should be productive and constructive. Lastly, the students should take ownership of the learning by leading the conference and taking responsibility for their learning progress. They should be open to feedback and willing to collaborate with their teacher and parent to identify strategies for improvement. The parents, however, also need to be prepared, as they have a fundamental role in the whole process. The parents should have their agenda available ahead of time so that they could review it. They should review the agenda for the conference that outlines key topics to be discussed. This will help the parents to prepare for the conference and know what to expect. They should also prepare the talking points for the conference, including the questions and concerns and feedback that they have for their child's learning progress. And they have to consider bringing some work samples or other relevant materials that can demonstrate this student's learning progress. This could be something that was done at home or something that was brought from school at home, and vice versa. The child's work should also be reviewed, and active listening is also mandatory and really important during the entire process. The parents should also be open to feedback, as teachers may suggest some strategies which parents need to follow in order for the students to progress and to grow as in their learning. They also need to follow up, as the parents will have to ask the students and the teachers later on more questions in regards of the following steps. So reflecting and feed forward, is really important for the constructive aspect of the entire process. Here are some helpful websites, and I would like to also mention that the IBO has some guides that they help teachers realize the importance of the conferences as well. And this could be found in the Making the PYP Happen, the original document of 2007. And there are in the section of the assessments, and there's also reference to these in the Enhanced PYP, the Learning and Teaching Manual. So let's recap. In conclusion, reporting in the primary years program is a valuable tool for students, parents, and teachers to monitor and support student learning progress. Conferences, particularly three-way conferences involving students, parents, and teachers, are a key component of PYP reporting. These conferences provide an opportunity for students to take ownership of their learning progress, reflect on their strengths and areas for growth, and collaborate with their teachers and parents to identify strategies for improvement. For parents, conferences are a chance to engage with their child's learning progress, ask questions, provide feedback, and collaborate with the teacher to support their child's academic growth. For teachers, conferences provide valuable insights into each student's learning progress, as well as an opportunity to collaborate with parents and students to develop a shared understanding of the child's learning journey. Overall, the three-way conference is a powerful tool for building relationships between students, parents, and teachers, and for fostering a collaborative and supportive learning environment. Any questions?
We're waiting for questions. Um, Although I don't see any question here, Vasalis, I have a question with me. I have
Mm-hmm,
seen, I've been part of SLCs over, say, 5 years. I have seen how it has changed. But what do you think has the how has the parents' perspective changed over the years? Because still there are parents, although you mentioned that it's more to do with students, it's time for them to reflect on their journey, but still we find that parents are still in that traditional mode where they want feedback from teachers. uh,
mm-hmm.
what do you have, what are your thoughts on?
Um, First of all, the post-COVID era certainly has a lot to bring, a lot to offer, because when the outbreak started, then we had to pause and think. When we said that less is more, this is actually something really essential and groundbreaking. It's something similar to the new ChatGPT that we have now in the IB, confirmed that everyone
Exactly.
can use it even for the essays. So we need to grasp the change. We need to follow the evolution of today's life and education, of course. And
Mm,
parents are also in the process of learning. Don't forget that all human beings are lifelong learners, and we all need to contribute to that. We need to work with the parents. We need to have info sessions to inform the parents about the changes, to inform the parents about the benefits of the three-way conferences and how important it is to have the students leading these conferences. Because we don't expect parents to learn about their child's progress in just 15 minutes, of course. This 15 minutes is for the students to actually have the first role and to feel confident, to boost their risk-taker learner profile trait, to be thinkers at the same time, and also to show how knowledgeable they have become over the course of the months that mediated between the previous conference and the one that you have now, for example.
yeah,
Communication between the teachers and the parents should be really regular, I would say. And if this is not for everyday matters, at least when it comes to introducing a new unit of inquiry or introducing an assessment, that is for sure something that we need to do in our teaching practice. So we need to have the parents as our companies and not someone who we report to. We need to see the parents as our fellow guides to the students' progress and growth, rather than some people who are abstract and they just bring their kids and they take the kids.
yeah,
So by involving them into our learning and teaching, then we can take the most out of it, out of these freeway conferences.
yeah, great. Then how do you suggest, my next question is just related to what we just discussed, how can we develop that culture in the whole school where parents understand this is also part of reporting only, and it is just not, reporting can't be seen in form of report cards or
Mhm,
PTMs where teacher speaks and about the child, but child is not in the picture when they speaking, so it's face to face between teacher and the parent. How do we develop that culture to get how to get started with it?
mhm. Every school needs to consider their mission and vision and what culture they want to have as a society, as a small community. So if we take into consideration the stakeholders that every school has, which is the teachers, the students, the parents, and the local community, the context, this will be the foundation for creating a culture. So by having meetings with parents, not necessarily the three-way conferences, but something that starts in the beginning of the year, by inviting the parents to our school community, by showing them the classrooms, by having info sessions and conferences, by bringing the parents into the school, not into during the report card periods, but also, like for some social events, social gatherings, having a parent teacher association that should be active into the school and have the parents caring and contributing to the school's growth. That will help tremendously to build a culture of school that would have let's say ground for this development of culture to grow and to prosper. um, Another thing that every school should consider is whether this school wants, let's say, to have grades in primary school. Because in the IB, grades in primary years is not highly appreciated, I will say, rather than having this commentary for the holistic development of the child. That includes some the areas of strength of a child and some suggestions areas for growth as well. So it depends on the school, how the school wants to promote this reporting. Is this something that is just facts and figures, let's say 5 out of 10 or 20 out of 30, I don't know. And I'm talking about the primary, not about the MYP and DP, because in the MYP and DP, there are grades. It's a different philosophy, it's a different system. But for the primary years program, for the PYP, there are so many other ways to promote this reporting into a very friendly and constructive manner for the students, first of all, and the parents.
That's great. Thank you for your answer. We've got a couple of questions here.
Mhm.
Should we write, I would rather show, should we write the feedback on the whole work? Um,
Um,
I think it means,
s-
as far as I understand, on the feedback, as one of your slides spoke about the feedback.
mhm,
So, what
mhm.
feedback are we giving on the work the child, which is which is showcased, or overall feedback we'll be giving to the parent?
You mean in the report cards
Um,
or for the conference?
Conference. I think that's what the question is.
Okay, so for the conference, we should focus on what the child will be presenting, because don't forget that we have a set amount of time. So it's either a 10-minute slot or a 15-minute slot or a 20-minute slot, and it depends on the age level. Because if we talk about the early years, for example, or PYP ones, that the students are not so talkative, maybe some will be, but mainly when we ask the students to present something and they are showing something on the wall, or they're showing something in their binder or in their portfolio or on CISO as well, we should focus on that particular aspect. However, since we, the teachers, are leading the questions, maybe we can ask some questions to provoke the student, demonstrate the areas for growth, or the areas that have developed over the course of the months. So we can use the Socratic method, like to extracting and leading the students where we want to go, so that we see the results that we look for, to actually get the feedback that we want. If we want to show, for example, that a student is not very confident, or a student that needs to work a bit on their speaking, oral skills, then by asking questions that would trigger the students to share their opinion or to share their experience from the everyday class, that will show that the student cannot speak very eloquently, or maybe the vocabulary needs to be developed. and this will become obvious without explicitly the teacher mentioning in front of the student. But we're saying that this is an experience for the students. So if there is any other concern, it can always be communicated via messages or emails or calling the parents into the school to have a one-to-one conversation about the matter.
That's a great idea. Thank you. Another question is here. Hi, I am new to
Hmm.
IBEYP. What
Hmm.
would you suggest for my first conference? I have done PTMs for 15 years, but the 3 week would be a first for me.
Hmm. It's always difficult in the first time. It's always difficult because the students or even the teacher is not really familiar with this technique. However, what we should always focus is the experience the students have in the classroom. So by asking some simple, friendly questions to the students that we do in the class, it's just a repetition. It just let's say we need consistency on this particular demonstration of the questions. So we can have, let's say, 2 to 3 questions, specific ones about a particular object or a particular artifact or a particular image and portrait that the student wants to present to the parents. And then we can rehearse our communication with the students. We can even bring the parents in the course of 1 or 2 weeks, like maybe in the morning or in the afternoon, and have this discussion, but informally. It doesn't necessarily have to be a formal three-way conference per se, but it could be something that the student will get familiarized in a longer time, of course. And then when this time comes, then we have more opportunities and more chances that the student will be talkative and will share what he or she wants to share. I cannot hear you,
Thank
Anila. Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I do not see any other question here. And before you go away, we would like to present this certificate to you for your insight and all the contributions. And thank you for the resource that you shared.
Thank you so much.
Definitely
It was
helpful.
a pleasure. It was a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. All the past participants here, I would like to request you to like, share, and subscribe our channel, because the motto of our Teachers Tribe is to reach to all the educators around the world. Thank you for joining in. See you later. Thank you.